are in Kansas.
Woo, Kansas!
Welcome to Kansas.
At the gas stations in Kansas, they have like Christian t-shirts and like all sorts of like weird Christian paraphernalia. I'm just not used to that. It's just kind of funny. But anyway, so we decided that we were going to tell one story from every place that we have an event in. And that way it keeps it a little bit short because we have like tons of stories from each one. But this little video is about Boise. In Boise, Idaho, it was just my sister and I. Bridget, I miss you, I love you, thanks for coming with me. And basically we played with a group of people from St. Mark's Church in Boise. And the church is awesome. If you get a chance to visit them, they're super awesome, nice, and there's great art in the church done by their parishioners. It's really great. But basically in Boise, some of the folks at St. Mark's set up a show for us, and it was supposed to be kind of this big thing. They invited all these different churches, Lutheran church, Methodist church, Catholic churches, to this whole shebang. And we're going to play in this park, and there was going to be free food, free music, worship, and it was going to be awesome. And I think it was just kind of a weird weekend because there were graduations and things going on. But we were expecting like 50 people, and we ended up with like half that amount, like maybe about 18 or 20 total throughout the whole evening. Which, don't get me wrong, that's totally awesome. And a lot of times what we do is we only play for that many people because we're doing like small Bible studies or small youth ministries. And when we're expecting it, then we kind of cater to that because there's a lot more you can do with a smaller group than with a big group. So technically, in some cases, I prefer that, but we just weren't expecting it. So I'm like playing there, and everybody who is at the event is connected in some way. And I was like, man, these are all people that have ministered to me. These are people who housed me and... Oh wait, time out, Buffalo. Check it out. Did you get it?
A little bit.
Buffalo, okay. Anyway, there are all these people that ministered to me, and it was like, what can I do to minister to them? And I was like, God, why are we in Boise? Like, they are so nice to us. Like, it's been awesome. They've supported us, fed us, took care of us, prayed with us. But I didn't feel like there was any reason for me to be there to minister to them. They didn't need me. Like, they didn't need me at all. They were good to go. And then up walked Dustin. So this guy who we didn't know and wasn't connected to the rest of the group walked up in the middle of the park and caught the end of my set. Later, I sat down and talked to him. Turns out he's traveling from Oregon, and he tried to walk to Boise. A couple people picked him up and dropped him off, and he's been stuck there for a month. And I was like, who are you staying with? Where are you sleeping? And he just kind of pointed to the park. And I was like, what? Like, in the bushes? You're sleeping in the bushes? So basically, long story short, this guy kind of left the home situation, and he was like, you know, there's something out there for me, and I gotta find it. And he was just trusting that God would take care of him. He volunteered at shelters, and just was kind of making his way to Salt Lake City, not knowing that that's where we're headed next. So we prayed about it real quick and offered him a ride to Salt Lake. And he was like, yes, absolutely. And then for the rest of the night, Dustin like prayed with us, with people, and just became part of the tour. It was like easy. He's 21, young guy, had a backpack and a sleeping bag, and that's it. So as the night went on, we did a podcast called A Slap in the Faith with the folks from St. Mark Church, and just hung out with Dustin. The next morning we picked him up and brought him to Salt Lake City, and he was awesome, just totally great. Like, we loved him. He would help us fill up the car, and we would tell him stories, and he couldn't stop smiling. But here's the thing, like, God loved Dustin so much that he sent Justin a red Chariot Kia Spectra to take him where he needed to go. He was connecting with a friend in Salt Lake City, who was awesome, by the way. His name was Mark, too. Dustin had no idea what we were up to. Here we are on this, like, Christian prayer tour where we're supposed to be ministering to people. And here's this guy who's, like, relatively homeless. And who better to minister to than Dustin? But what happened is he, like, ministered to us. Like, having him along for the ride made it so much more fun. But we didn't just go to Salt Lake. He got a little more than he bargained for. We went to the Golden Spike National Monument, where the two trains from the west and the east finally came together in the United States and connected the whole U.S. We also went to the Salt Flats and all the way to Wendover, which is like an hour and a half outside of Salt Lake City, just so we could take pictures with this giant 100-foot statue of a cowboy that waves called Wendover Will. Like, Dustin had the time of his life, and we kept asking him, like, is this weird? And he's like, no, this is the end. Goodbye.